Okay, so I know what you guys may be thinking. What are you doing playing an entirely new game? This game is called Apex Legends, and this is the big project for January. But before we get started, I just wanted to quickly calm down everyone that's probably going to be thinking I'm quitting Rogue Company. I'm going to say right now that I'm not quitting Rogue Company, and I'm making a promise to you guys that at least till year 3 of Rogue Company, I will do Rogue Company for the foreseeable future until year 3. That is my promise to you guys. If you guys still aren't assured, I want to tell you guys a little bit of a story before we start. And that is, when I started content creation, before I started content creation actually, I was doing online school, I was, at school. And I said I really, really wanted a YouTube channel. That's something that I dreamed about even before online school. But my parents would never let me. And so I decided to do a gaming channel. And, if you told me, told the young me, that I'd be, have 100 subs to Rogue Company content, I'd be like, you're kidding. There's no way, right? But we're here. But at the same time that I started doing Rogue Company content, and, a little bit before when I was actually starting to play Rogue Company, I also played Apex Legends. And I knew that when I wanted to do content creation, especially for gaming, I am not going to be juggling Apex Legends, Rogue Company, and all the other games, because I also had Rocket League and Hitman 3 at the same time, right? And so I was juggling all 4 games was really hard, right? Even juggling 3 games actually, juggling 3 games for content creation and then Apex for fun. I knew at one point I had to pick which one do I actually play for actual YouTube, and so I decided Rogue Company. So Rogue Company was the game that stood out above every single other game, and I was like, this is the game that I'm picking. And it still, that decision, I've never regretted that decision. I never have regretted that decision ever in my entire year and a little bit. Never regretted that decision of choosing Rogue Company over everything else. So let's get into the video. So actually, back when I started playing Apex Legends, I played Bloodhound. Bloodhound is a recon class rogue, well, not rogue actually, recon class legend, and he will be going up against Dallas, an intel class rogue. Those two are pretty similar. Now, many people will be wondering, why am I explaining Dallas? Well, for people who play Apex Legends, and this is their first video on the channel, I don't do a lot of this. So, yeah. But Dallas is a intel class rogue. He is he's pretty cool, I guess. Right? He's not my main. I don't really main him. I do main Bloodhound though, right? So we are going to be pitting them in a 1v1 fight. If I was to literally drop them into an arena map, which is the thing that you're seeing here, and literally say to Dallas, this is your target, and point at Bloodhound, and then say to Bloodhound, this is your target, and then then point it to Dallas, and then the two were dropped into the map. They had to fight each other. The best person wins. Obviously, it depends on the player, obviously, but we're not talking about that. We're talking in the in-game universe. These two people have their own brains. They are their own entities. They know what they are doing. Who will come out on top, and why? Well, I'm going to be breaking this down into 3 different parts, and the person first to 2 points wins. The person to 2 points wins best of 3, basically. And how it's going to work is we're going to be breaking down their abilities, their passives, and then their actual weapons. Now, there are a couple of things that I do have to lay a bit of groundwork on, right? And that is Rogue Company isn't as flexible as Apex Legends, so there are a couple of things I need to lay down first. Apex Legends was a original battle royale. It was originally a battle royale. But the gameplay that you're seeing right here is a new mode called Arenas. Well, it's not new, but it's a fairly recent mode in the life cycle of Apex. And it's a 3v3 kind of mode. And that's kind of the basis that I'm working with here. The next thing is pitting them in a 1v1. So you can't say, well, I can't say because I'm the one comparing the two, Dallas is really good in the game because of this. If he's not good in a 1v1, if it doesn't help him in a 1v1, it's just considered bad. And then the last thing is that Bloodhound actually has 2 abilities, a tactical and an ultimate ability. I'll be getting rid of the ultimate ability because I personally think myself that it doesn't compare to Dallas's ability. it just doesn't really fit in the grand scheme of things, and so therefore it's not going to count. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, let's get into the comparison. Okay, so let's get started with the abilities. So Bloodhound's ability is where he can reveal any enemies that are in front of him. Any enemies. So that could be 4 enemies, 5 enemies, 6 enemies. But wait a second. There was a rule that said that if it doesn't help in a 1v1, if it's not realistic in a 1v1, it doesn't count. So at maximum, it can only reveal 1 enemy, which is Dallas. And it reveals the enemies that are in front of him in the game, and in the 1v1, that will be the same. It will reveal anyone that is in front of him, or it will reveal Dallas if he's in front of him. That's his tactical ability. The emphasis on the in front, though. It will reveal the Dallas when the Dallas is in front, and he pops that ability. If Dallas is to the right, or even a little bit above the line of sight, he's not going to be revealed. And that is something right there. That is something that Dallas can exploit. But at the same time, Dallas's ability is where he can snap his fingers, and in a radius, he can reveal anyone. Now that's really good in the game, and it will also be really good in a 1v1, because he will know exactly where Bloodhound is. But Bloodhound may not know where Dallas is. And even if Dallas does get revealed by Bloodhound, there is a sonar kind of thing that comes to Dallas when he's being revealed. Right there, if the sonar is going from left to right, Dallas already knows. Okay. Turns to the left, this is where Bloodhound is. But if Bloodhound gets revealed by Dallas, there's just a revealed text. There's nothing else. Bloodhound doesn't get any information on where Dallas is, even though Dallas knows where Bloodhound is. That is something that is extremely, and I mean extremely, good about Dallas. And that, I think, is the main key turning point into why Dallas wins the ability point. So, first point goes to Dallas. So, right now we're looking at a scale of 0-1. Dallas with 1, Bloodhound with nothing. So now let's move on to the passives. Bloodhound's passive is Tracker, where he can see enemy footsteps, kind of like Hunter, but for 30 seconds. So Bloodhound will know if an enemy jumped up and other things like that. Now Dallas doesn't have Hunter, and perks don't count, right? So let's get back to actually, comparing Bloodhound. So Bloodhound can see enemy footsteps. There is no point in this passive. In my opinion, there is no point in this passive. But it works. It's a passive that at least works. If Bloodhound gets behind Dallas, he'll be able to follow the trail of Dallas, try build a successful flank. Dallas's passive, on the other hand, is Recharge, where for every single enemy he downs, he gains his ability immediately back. Keep in mind, that's really good in Rogue Company, but that isn't good in a 1v1. And that is something also. It's not going to help, considering this is a 1 life mode. First to the first kill, first to the kill gets it, right? If Dallas can't use his passive, that is already a major turning point to Bloodhound's favor. He can't use his passive. Bloodhound at least can. And that is the key, that is the turning point, that is the thing that makes Bloodhound gain the passive point. The passive point, the point that makes Bloodhound's passive better than Dallas. Okay, so now we are on the final point. The person who gains this point wins the entire, who is the better, video game character. I don't know. I haven't come up with a full name for this. The better rogue or the better legend, right? There are a couple of things that I need to, talk about here. Bloodhound obviously has a high selection of guns, and Dallas has a high selection of guns. Dallas has weapon mastery. Bloodhound has an RNG kind of system, considering it's a battle royale. But, for Apex, he can buy any gun in the AR, section. It's kind of like weapon mastery, but not really. To keep things simplistic, though, we'll just go with a basic loadout, and I'm going to name it now, and then I'll figure out how we are going to rate this. So, for pistols, Dallas has the Lw6 Revolver, and Bloodhound has the P2020. For assault rifles, Dallas has the Riptide, and Bloodhound has the R301. And for DMRs, Dallas has the Devotion, and Bloodhound has the Longbow. Now here's the thing, the Longbow is actually considered a sniper, but you know, I don't care, it has DMR in the name, so it's going to be a DMR, no matter what. Okay, so those are your three categories. If, let's say, Dallas was to pull two categories, then he wins. Even if we still have one more category to go, he wins and then he gets that point, right? That is pretty simple, obviously, but then, you know, it's kind of like a mini version of the competition, but for weapons. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, so let's start out with the ARs. So, the Riptides, I should say DPS, is actually the damage per second. So, how much damage does the Riptide do per second? And so, the Riptide's DPS, or damage per second, is 146.72 damage. So the Riptide can pull 146.72 damage. To Rogue Company standards, that is actually pretty good. But to Rogue Company standards, let's see what it compares to with the R301. Okay, so the R301's body DPS, so if it was just to hit the body, would be 182 damage per second. That is significantly more than the Riptides. The Riptides, 146. So much more. I really have to say that as much as I play Rogue Company more, the R301 is a good gun in Apex, and so therefore it also is a good gun here, actually, like, you know. So overall, R301 takes the dub for the first round. Okay, so now let's move on to the DMR category. DMRs, obviously, to run through it again, Dallas has the Devotion, and Bloodhound has the Longbow. So, the Longbow's damage per second is 71 damage, 0.5. 71.5 damage. That means, in a second, the Longbow cannot deal 100 damage to kill Dallas. Now, 1 second may seem like very little, but to Rogue Company players, and probably even to Apex players, 1 second can mean a lot. It can mean getting in the zone or getting out the zone. It could mean defusing or, you know, failing to defuse the bomb in Rogue Company. A second can mean a lot. And the fact that this Longbow doesn't do 100 damage is already a big failure for the Longbow. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. That may be the key turning point to make Dallas win. Because the Devotion, why did I start with that? The Devotion damage per second is 104.34 to the body. To the body. Many people say the Devotion in Rogue Company, I'm talking in the Rogue Company universe, you need to hit the head to be effective. But damage per second, I ran it through a TTK calculator. DPS on the body is 104.34. That already brings it to 1 point to the, like, I guess, Dallas in this little mini subcategory. 1 point to Dallas and 1 point to Bloodhound. So we are at 1-1 in the overall scheme of things, and we are at 1-1 for the weapons to see who will actually take the final blow. Now, obviously, this is actually really close, and I actually didn't expect it to be this close, and I literally had to, like, you know, look through my notes. I was like, my god, this is really close. So, you know, let's see who wins. So, moving on to Bloodhound's pistol, the P2020. Its body DPS is 126 damage. That is actually pretty good. That is a good damage number, even for Rogue Company standards. I'm not sure whether it's good for Apex standards. I mean, I haven't played it in a battle royale, and that's what most people play, actually. It's actually a good gun, good pistol, in my opinion. So now let's move on to the Lw6 Revolvers DPS. And its DPS is 109.08 damage per second to the body. It shoots just shy of the P2020 DPS, which is 126. And so therefore, it comes to the conclusion that if I was to plot these two, weapon-wise, ability-wise, and passive-wise, that Bloodhound is the key winner in this 1v1. However, there is still one more thing to discuss, and that is the skill of each legend and rogue, I guess, each character. So, if I was to, let's do a completely new kind of breakdown. If I was to, let's say, give Dallas an R301, a longbow, and a P2020, and then Bloodhound the same weapon arsenal, and the same map, same everything, who would win? Well, now it comes down fully to skill. It comes down to, who actually gets the drop on one another, who does what, and stuff like that. So, Bloodhound is actually a really, really famous hunter. He was a famous hunter across the Outlands and is really, really skilled. He even fought a Goliath, which is kind of like a dinosaur gorilla kind of mix. And, he saved his village from a bunch of, well, not really. He saved his village from a bunch of death because the Goliath was actually preying on the villagers. He has been named the greatest hunter in the Outlands. And here's the funny thing. Dallas has a very earthly story, so he hasn't fought, a Goliath or whatever, right? He has been named the best tracker in the world. Bloodhound has been named the best hunter in the world. So Dallas has been able to track down his enemies, be able to, find them. And he was a Texas state lawman. He was like a really, really good, I think he became sheriff at one point. But then he joined the Texas State Rangers because he wasn't happy with the people he was bringing in. He didn't think that they were big enough, bad enough, right? And so he joined the Texas State Rangers and still wasn't happy. He was like, I'm catching people that I shouldn't, they're not worth my time. So then he decided to join Rogue Company and become one of, his trackers, and, he thinks that now he's pretty satisfied with the villains that he's catching. So Dallas is named the best tracker in the world, but Bloodhound is named one of the best hunters in the world. Both are very similar titles. Trackers, obviously, you need to track your prey, and then that is something also with Bloodhound as well. So when it comes fully down to skill, I don't know, honestly. These two are extremely similar. Now that I'm even hearing myself record this, these two are really, really similar. Honestly, if I had to give the point, it would be to Bloodhound. And I know what you guys are going to say. Why? The reason that I give this point to Bloodhound is for two reasons. Bloodhound fought a Goliath, which is kind of like a monster kind of gorilla type of thing. Which, many people may argue Dallas doesn't actually have the chance to do that. If you were to give Dallas that chance, maybe he could also fight that. True. But here's the thing. Dallas is also named the best tracker in the world. Tracker is similar to hunter in some way, right? But tracker means you track down the prey. That doesn't necessarily mean you kill the prey. Bloodhound is the best hunter, which requires, tracking and all that stuff also. And so, in my opinion, it has to go to Bloodhound. Now, many people may also be wondering, you play Rogue Company, surely you should know better than this. I do. I play Rogue Company, obviously, but I'm not going to be biased. I'm not going to say, just because I play Rogue Company, I do this. I'm going to be fair. I'm going to try to be fair. But anyway, guys, that's going to have to do it for today's daily upload. I hope you guys enjoyed today's daily upload. If you're an Apex Legends viewer, I'm sorry, I don't do Apex Legends. Actually, I do a lot more of Rogue Company. So, yeah, don't expect too much Apex content. In fact, don't expect any Apex content because this is probably all I'm going to be doing about Apex Legends. But if you're a Rogue Company watcher, if someone who actually plays Rogue Company and, views it and stuff like that, I do daily Rogue Company content, and I'm on the road to 150 subscribers, so thank you guys so much to everyone who has subscribed already. If you aren't, please do, because I don't want you guys to miss another upload, and you guys won't if you press that subscribe button. But I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for even making it this far in the video. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. I didn't think we were going to be here, but we are. And yeah, I'll see you guys all in tomorrow's daily upload. Bye-bye.